Hey guys, I know I already streamed once today, but I just finished watching a video by Sargon of Akkad where he again says we need to regulate social media. And it's very frustrating. I just want to address one of the most common misconceptions that I'm seeing, which is being pushed by the news media. And I don't understand why it is that we are so quick to point out fake news when it doesn't support our bias. But we're so happy to accept and embrace fake news when it does support our bias. This is a problem. I want to show here two articles that were sent to me by actually by someone on Twitter, on Discord, when we were discussing this issue, the regulation of social media, because this is one of the big arguments that people are giving. Employers aren't interviewing people who don't have one of these. Guess what it is? Here's a quote. This article, by the way, was written August of 2017. Quote from the past, he says, "In the not-too-distant future, a baseline online social presence will be required for the most common of life's exercises, like getting a job. In the future, if you don't have some semblance of an online presence, you won't even be considered for a job. If employers or recruiters can't learn about you online through your social graph, they won't be interested." Well, the not-too-distant future is here. According to a recent survey, which we will look at, put out by Harris Polling Company, done for Career Builder, we'll discuss that also, 57% of employers will not interview someone without a social media presence. Let me say that again. 57% of employers will not interview someone without a social media presence. That's more than half. That's material. The future is now. And I have heard people giving this stat. More than half of employers will not interview you if you don't have a social media presence. CNBC. CNBC uses the same survey for an article that they're doing. More than half of employers won't hire someone they find online, or they can't find online. Now, some of you might notice that's a little bit different from more than half of employers won't interview someone without a social media presence. This is saying, well, they might interview you, but they won't hire you, and can't find online is different from social media presence. So what did they say? Career Builder surveyed 2,300 managers and found that 70% of employers say they use social media to screen candidates, and 57% of employers said they are less likely to interview a candidate they can't find online. Ooh, that's very different, isn't it? What does the survey actually say? 50% are less likely to interview a candidate that they can't find online. This does not say they will not hire them. This doesn't even say they won't interview them. It says they are less likely. That could mean that they have two candidates in front of them, and one has a social media or online presence, one does not. Okay, I'm leaning towards this one. 51% for 49%. Maybe it's 60-40. Maybe it's 70-30. We don't know. It says they are less likely to interview a candidate, that they can't find online. Now, what does find online mean? This could mean that they are in the news. This could mean that they have a LinkedIn profile. This does not mean social media. This, in theory, could mean that they could find them on whitepages.com, which for those not in America means they find them in the phone book, because you can access the phone book online. It could be that they're trying to weed out bots. I mean, we don't know. Now, to be honest, do I think that that's what it is? No, I don't think that they're looking in whitepages.com. But what I'm saying is, this does not say they will not hire people who don't have a social media presence. It does not say they won't interview people who don't have a social media presence. It doesn't even say they're less likely to interview people who don't have a social media presence. LinkedIn is not social media. LinkedIn is what most employers are going to use first, not Facebook, not Twitter, not YouTube. Something else I want to talk about here is something called selection bias. For those of you who aren't familiar with this term, I brought up the definition specifically for people who aren't familiar with this. Selection bias is a statistical error that causes a bias in the sampling portion of an experiment. The error causes one sampling group to be selected more often than other groups included in the experiment. This may produce an inaccurate conclusion if the selection bias is not identified. For example, if the experiment only selects people of a certain race with similar characteristics and includes any group that deviates from those elements. Then they give an example. The students at the university had to start their experiment over because they discovered a selection bias in the species gathered. Can we see any suggestion of a selection bias here? How many know what Career Builder is? Career Builder is a site, an online site that seeks to match employers and employees. Employers can go on there and post a job that they want to find, for which they want to find employees, and employees can, potential employees, candidates can go on there to post their resume. And Career Builder offers services to people to help them boost their resume or to help them have good resumes. Also, they offer it to employers to help boost their job posting to get more people responding to it. They interviewed, where is it? This national survey was conducted online on behalf of Career Builder by Harris Poll between February 16th and March 9th of 2017. It included a representative sample of more than 2,300 hiring managers and human resources professionals across industries and company sizes in the private sector. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that these are people who are using Career Builder services. It is definitely a selection of people online. There are a lot of jobs that aren't going to use something like Career Builder. Now, granted, usually these are going to be the lower end jobs, like fast food or sales, and lower end sales. Trying to think what, just something like Walmart, not something like a car salesman or an insurance salesman, which, excuse me, even a used car salesman probably may not be using something like Career Builder. When you're interviewing people who are already using online services, the probability that they are going to look for an online presence in their potential employee is very high. Why? Because they're searching for people online. They're not asking people to walk into the office and drop off a resume. They're asking people they're going to an online service and asking people to submit resumes. They're not meeting people. All the information they can find is online. Yes, but it frustrates me, okay, looking at this. First off, I would say that there is selection bias. Maybe there isn't. You can argue it either way. I think that there is. And additionally, it says 57% are less likely to interview a candidate whom they can't find online. So when someone says 57% of employers will not interview someone without a social media presence, that is a flat out lie. When CNBC says more than half of employers won't hire someone they can't find online, that is a flat out lie. And when you say, oh, we're getting to the point where you can't get a job if you don't exist on social media, that's a lie. This is saying half of employers who use online services to find employees, over half, I should say, are less likely to consider someone, or less likely to interview someone that they can't find online. Again, this isn't even social media necessarily. This could just be LinkedIn. This could be, it could be any number of things. Anyway, I'm going to get frustrated and then I start tripping over my words, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, another thing, by the way, when they look at this, usually when they're looking at the social media, they're looking for negatives. They're looking to see, is this someone I don't want to hire? Some of you know I have a small business. I've hired many employees over the years. I'm hiring part-time employees, so I know I'm looking at a very different group of potential workers than a lot of these sites would be looking for. But yes, when I was interviewing people or when I was looking at resumes for people, I would always search them on Facebook and on Twitter. Well, not on Twitter. I would search for them on Facebook. I think that was it, actually. Why? Because I'm looking for red flags. I want to know, yeah, are they posting provocative or inappropriate photographs, videos, or information? Do they post information about them drinking or using drugs? Do they post discriminatory comments about race, gender, or religion? That one I'm not going to be so worried about, because I'm like, yeah. Badmouth their previous company or fellow employee. Yeah, that would be a problem. Lied about qualifications. That would be a huge problem. Poor communication skills. Yes. And that's not always social media. I went to call one lady she turned in a resume. I did actually post it online, and the lady emailed me her resume. I went to call her back. I got her voicemail, and she had terrible grammar, terrible enunciation. And I thought, nope, didn't even leave a message. So similar thing. Yes, they'll be looking at Facebook to see, is this person articulate? Do they have good grammar? Think about that, by the way, when you post on social media. Were they linked to criminal behavior? That's usually not going to show up on social media. Shared confidential information from previous employers. That would be a huge problem. Screen name was unprofessional. That wouldn't be necessarily a problem for me. Candidate lied about an absence. That's not likely to show up on social media, although there have been times. Candidate that posts too frequently on social media. Yeah, that's a problem. If I see someone who is posting all the time on social media, I'm less likely to hire them, because it tells me they're not as likely to work hard. They're probably just going to be on their phone all day. So why do I bring this up? Quite often, and it says, yeah, more than half of employers have found content on social media that caused them not to hire a candidate for an open role. Interestingly enough, this article will say, oh, more than half of employers won't hire someone they can't find online. And this says more than half of employers won't hire somebody that they did find online because there was negative stuff. So even before you say, oh, you have to have a social media presence or you won't get a job, this is saying half of employers are not going to hire people if they see something they don't like on your social media. And 57% of employers are less likely to interview a candidate they can't find online. Based on the stats alone, you're safer not having a social media presence. LinkedIn is good, something like that, where it just, and I have a LinkedIn profile that I haven't updated in probably a decade, so it's so old and outdated. I don't even know what it says anymore. But it's okay, because I'm not looking for a job. But I mean, LinkedIn that's a good site. That's a good thing to have if you're looking for a job. There are sites like that are good if you're looking for a job. Social media is completely irrelevant. No, okay, it's not completely irrelevant, but stats show, even this study that is trying to say, oh, you need to have a social media presence, I think it's looking more like, yeah, 57% have decided not to hire a candidate based on their social media profiles. I think having a social media profile it's not going to help you get a job unless you are very, very careful what you post and you're interviewing for a position with someone who agrees with you on what you post. I mean, it doesn't matter what you post. You're going to upset some people. It's just the way it is. So when people, it frustrates me when I'm seeing things, people saying you have to have a social media presence, or you have to have, you have to be on social media if you even want to get a job. We need to regulate these companies because it's destroying people's lives, and this is now the public forum. You have to allow people on Facebook and Twitter. Nobody's complaining that people are being banned from Reddit, and maybe it's because nobody even gets banned from Reddit. Nobody's complaining about people getting banned from Tumblr. I'm sure there are people who have gotten banned from Tumblr. Nobody complains about people being banned from LinkedIn, probably because nobody posts anything controversial on LinkedIn. But the point is, you don't have to have a Facebook profile to get a job. That's ridiculous. You don't have to have a Twitter account to get a job. If you are a content creator on YouTube, I understand that Facebook and Twitter are parts of your income. That's different. But that's such a tiny, tiny percent of the population. And when you're calling for regulation, I mean, I kind of wanted to play several parts of this video that Sargon just put out, because he basically, I mean, he defeats himself in the end when he sums up the video by saying, we need to remember, we are, historically speaking, in the very earliest era of the internet. We still don't know what the long-term effect on society will be. Therefore, let's make sure the government has full control over it. We need the government to step in and take control of this. That's why I titled this stream, The Mind of a Socialist, a Statist. The mindset of, sorry, I'm reading Society. Well, the mindset of a statist. And I feel like I agree with Sargon on a lot of issues. I disagree with him on a lot of issues, but I think I agree with him on a lot more than I disagree with him on. But this is one area where I think he's very, very wrong. And I think it shows his statist mindset. He still looks to the government to fix his problems. And that's not okay. And I'm tempted to say this is because he's gotten involved now with political parties. I don't know. It's rather frustrating. Hang on, I'm trying to, there we go. It's not frustrating. It's not frustrating because he believes that. Because again, I mean, I disagree with him on something, so I don't care. That's fine. You're never going to agree with anybody on everything. And if you do, there's a problem. If you ever find anyone that you're watching their videos, listening to their podcasts or anything like that, where you just agree with them, everything, hands down, 100% on everything, be concerned. Be concerned. Because that means you are very close to being a hero worshiper. So again, with everybody you watch, you probably disagree with them on something. And if you don't, then yeah, that's scary. But anyway, sorry, I just decided to bring up the chat to see how things were, see what anyone says. Oh, yeah, you should bring dragons on stream. Yeah, one of my dragons is right here. I've got a baby. Hold on, I'll just bring her. Hey, sweetie. She's shy. But yeah, this is my little one. I have two bigger ones. Hey, babe, you want to say hi? Say hi. Anyway. Oh, sweetie, don't. Okay. She doesn't, she gets nervous. Okay. Yeah. Dean Campos says, notice me. See, I'm tempted to respond the way Teal Deer does. And he says, you have been noticed, now go jump off a cliff or something. But see, that's so mean. But yes, anytime when I see that, notice me, I always, because he always comes up with creative ways of saying, go kill yourself. And that's so mean. But at the same time, I can't help it that that's what I think of. Okay. Yeah, she claims not to be ANCAP. I've yet to hear what she wouldn't privatize. Oh, I would privatize everything. I would. But that's not the same as being anarcho-capitalist. I'm very close to it. I mean, in the practical outworking of my beliefs is something between anarchy and socialism. Well, I shouldn't say that. It looks like that. That's not what it is, because I do believe in laws. I do believe in regulation, but I don't believe in the civil government owning private industry, or what should be privatized anyway. Yeah. How can you get a job without Minecraft? Yeah. I mean, come on. If you don't have streams showing you how well you play on video games, how are you going to get a job? But think about it. What sort of job are you looking for? If you're looking for a job as a caster for a video game tournament, I mean, Dota 2, the Dota 2 International is going on right now. And the reason I'm streaming twice today is because they don't play today. They played every day last week and they're up until yesterday. And then they'll be playing every day starting tomorrow through Sunday. So I'm probably, the probability of me streaming again at all this week is very, very low. But today's a day off for them. But anyway, if you wanted to be a caster for the International, you have to have a Twitch stream. You just have to. Because people are going to have to, they want to be able to see, well, okay, I don't know if Red Eye has a stream, but you get the point, what I'm saying. A lot of employers nowadays, if they work online, then yes, they're going to expect you to have an online presence. But social media, if you work in, say, an editorial page for a newspaper, then yeah, you'll need that. If you work as a YouTube content creator, you need the social media presence. So there are jobs where you need it. But to say, oh, everybody's going to need this, no, that's ridiculous. Anyway, this is just something that has been frustrating me a lot. And it's like, come on, he says, I'm going to switch back to, It's just, he says it right there. We need to remember, we are, historically speaking, in the very earliest era of the internet. We still don't know what the long-term effect on society will be. So don't put the government in charge of it now. Oh my goodness. I mean, think about it. When the iPhone came out, if that, let's just assume for a minute that, I mean, the iPhone was the most successful smartphone for a while. So assume that at that time, when the iPhone was becoming popular, this federal government stepped in and made the production of the iPhone a public utility because everybody needs an iPhone. Everybody has to have a smartphone. You can't function in the modern world without a smartphone. Well, then Samsung would not exist. And yeah, and guess what? I have a Samsung. I hate the iPhone. I refuse to have an iPhone. And yeah, I may have lost subscribers over that. I don't care. iPhone's terrible. Several of my siblings have iPhones. They love them. And I mean, you drop it once and it's gone. It's just, that's it. Whereas this thing, I mean, granted, I have a nice, I drop mine a lot, so I have a good strong case, but I can drop it right now on cement and it should be okay. I'm not going to try it, but I have done it in the past. So you should have choice. As soon as you put regulation on this, you're not going to have choice. BitChute, whatever the others are, Minds, Gab, they will never be able to be competitors because you're regulating it. You're going to make YouTube and Twitter public utilities. Now there won't be competition. You can't have competition for public utilities. You just, again, think. And I really, really wish Sargon would think about this. And again, I like so much of what Sargon has to say. I think he's great. And this would not upset me so much. I don't like him so much that it bothers me what he thinks. No, there are some YouTubers where, yes, it does bother me what they think because I like them a lot. But Sargon has a lot of power. He has a lot of people watching him. He has a lot of people listening to him. He has a lot of people following him. And when he says we need regulation, a lot of people are going to vote for it. They're going to push for this. And I don't think he realizes the damage he's pushing for. And I wish he would take his own advice. We need to remember, we are, historically speaking, in the very earliest era of the internet. We still don't know what the long-term effect on society will be. So wait until we do know. Don't jump in there with regulation right now. Just don't. Keep the government out of private industry. And when they say, oh, we need the First Amendment to apply to private companies, it's like, what does the First Amendment actually say? Read the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law prohibiting what is it? Oh dear, I can't quote it verbatim, but it's that's bad. I can quote the beginning. My memory is so bad, but yeah, it's Congress shall make no law. It's not. I mean, it's not anything else. It's not about private citizens. It's not even about state government. Technically speaking, state government could make laws prohibiting freedom of speech. They shouldn't, but they could, in theory, according to the 10th Amendment. Anyway. Okay. I don't like getting frustrated. I don't like getting upset. So I'm going to just end it here. I just wanted to address this, to just say, look, he's right in that part of it. We don't know what the long-term effect is going to be. And we need to not make rash decisions now that are going to affect generations to come. We don't want the government in control of the internet. We don't want the government in control of the means of communication. Okay? It's a recipe for disaster. Anyway. Probably haven't expressed myself perfectly well, but I hope you can see this. Here, let me just screen share again, just to recap very briefly. When you see these things, employers aren't interviewing people, or where is it? Employers will not interview someone without a social media presence. Flat out lie. More than half of employers won't hire someone they can't find online. Flat out lie. 57% of what? Managers are less likely to interview a candidate that they can't find online. Okay, that's what the study actually says. Anyway, just stop believing the fake news just because it supports your narrative. And I heard Sargon actually reference not necessarily this article, but something along these lines, saying now a huge percentage of people won't hire people unless they have a social media presence. And it's like, that's not true. It's not true. I need to do an entire stream just on how to read statistics and how to, when someone gives you a statistic, how to do the research and say, okay, well, yeah, they surveyed all these, they found all this. Okay, let's actually look at the actual research, which is what, yeah. Don't believe what you read online. And I just feel like this is common sense. Everybody should know this. But again, just don't believe fake news just because it supports your narrative. All right. Whoops. Oh, wrong button. All right. That's all. Quick stream. Like I said, just feel free to, if you want to, feel free to hit me up on Twitter if you want to discuss this more or whatever. And hope everybody has a good evening.